Three people walk into a Rolex ID: an up-and-coming businessman, up-and-coming software engineer, and a budding YouTuber. Each of them wants a Rolex, but which one should they buy? Or should they even buy a Rolex at all? Yes, it's status, but is it the right watch? The thing with Rolex is that it has for the longest time been the ultimate status watch. It has been the watch that says you have arrived. Everybody knows and recognizes the brand, and thieves, they can spot it on your wrist from a mile away. Rolex is the option that people have as their go-to brand for status, to measure success, and also anniversaries and so much else. I've been thinking about this for a while and wanted to try an experiment. Forget about the brand as such, but just look at the aesthetics. I'm sure if you think of a Wall Street individual, it conjures up a picture of a person wearing a submariner or a Datejust. If I say pilot, you say GMT. If I say state leader, you say day-date. But do these stereotypes still fit for the modern Rolex user? The questions I ask myself are around whether or not the stereotypes kind of need an update, or rather, does the watch that fits the stereotype need an update? So which one is the businessman watch now in the Rolex line? In a world full of software engineers, which watch should they buy? And the creative YouTuber? Which Rolex signals I'm a creative YouTuber? Also, stick around to the end because I also have some options outside of Rolex. If the whole Rolex thing is too much for you, there are tons of options out of there, and I've got a couple of good ideas that you should probably consider. First up, the businessman's Rolex. The watch fam, I sure would say Submariner or Datejust. My time back in consulting, Submariner was the one you saw everywhere. Done and dusted. Move on. But I would like to give it a little bit more thought from the use case of the user. So think about this. Think about a businessman. He's going to be wearing suits or at least formal business wear attire, and that'll be their daily wear. The businessman is going to be traveling a lot. Some clients would probably prefer the consultant not to look too rich unless it's a partner, but the entry-level consultant not so much. They're also paying for services, so a little bit of a humble watch might be a good idea. When you're not at work, you're cool, you're trendy, you're at the right clubs, you're at the right parties. This is a Negronis and old fashions kind of crowd. This is not beers and shots. In your free time, you're likely wearing polos and jumpers, maybe toned down hoodies. Yeah, so the stereotypical businessman blends more than sticks out. Taking that into consideration, I've narrowed it down to 3 watches. The GMT on a Jubilee, the Datejust with the fluted bezel, and the Yachtmaster in steel. All of these watches tick the boxes of style, statement piece, not too eye-catching, etc. The reason I don't go for the sub is because I want one myself, but more importantly, it's a little bit bland. The businessman wants to be special. Fit in, yes, but also be unique. The other 3 models that I've mentioned do that better. The one that does it best, though, in my eyes, is the GMT with the black and blue bezel on the Jubilee bracelet. This is the watch that goes under the cuff. It keeps track of your time zones when you're traveling, and it stands out just that little bit in the club. What about the software engineer? The software engineer is a remote worker. Dress code is whatever the hell you want to wear as long as you're wearing pants, and even on Zoom, that's not entirely necessary. Some may be cool and tech trendy, others are athleisure all the way. Gone are the days that all software engineers looked like Mark Zuckerberg and lived on a diet of pizza and cola. They want a functional watch, and if they're not into the whole Apple Watch smartwatch thing, IT needs to look good and be versatile. To me, there's only one watch. I'm not going to pretend like there are 3 options. There is only one watch. And for those of you that know the Rolex line, you should probably have guessed it already. It's the Milgauss. Yeah, it's not the same kind of engineering, but engineering is still engineering. The aesthetic of the Z Blue is relaxed, it's playful, and it also has that nerdy vibe that, you're kind of looking for. Another alternative, I think, would be the Air King, also because of the quirky nature, the history of the watch. So it's a good second choice, but the Milgauss is the way to go. This is the watch that the software engineer should be wearing. Finally, we have the YouTube creators Rolex. This is potentially the hardest one because when looking at the typical YouTuber, there isn't one. Apart from the fact that it's creative individuals, they span a multitude of different interests, from watch reviews to tech reviews to news reporting. It's all over the place, and that's a good thing. I think, though, the key is creativity, its quirkiness, its originality. It's also a little bit about on being the cutting edge and standing out from the crowd while still being able to meet your audience, still fit in. We're not going to be worried too much about whether or not it's a ridiculously expensive watch. Wear whatever you like. I've seen several YouTubers wear APs in their videos. I don't have one. I wish I did. But I think I have 3 contenders that a budding YouTuber should look for when looking for a Rolex. It's the Chilili line. It's the Day-Date. Yep, I'm going all in. And again, I've got the GMT. I actually considered the Yachtmaster too. It's eye-catching and quirky and stands out. But, you know, at the end of the day, like many others, I think the Yachtmaster 2 is way too big. It stands out too much. It's just too big a watch. The Cellini is a beautiful watch. It wears well. And if you were an architect or a graphic designer, I would probably say that's the Rolex for you. It's artful. It's unique in ways that no other Rolex is. Also subdued, just stands out. Practically speaking, though, for the creative, it's limited by the leather strap. And all in all, maybe the Cellini for some would come across as a little bit too conservative and a little bit too old school. After all, Barack Obama is known to own a Cellini, which might actually say that's the real president's watch, because it's a classy watch, but not everybody's going to know how expensive it is. Then there's the Day-Date. The Day-Date is gorgeous and is the watch of choice of many wealthy media types. It just isn't original enough, though. If you can afford it, go for it. It's a beautiful watch. It would be the fallback watch, though. No. The watch the YouTuber I think should be getting is the Everose two-tone GMT. This is a gorgeous watch. This is one of the best executed two-tones watches on the market. With the brown dial and the combi brown-black bezel, this watch rocks. And if you're a YouTuber, you got whatever you're wearing, you can wear this anyway. This is the way to go. It is just an amazing watch, and I think it fits perfectly in with the style and mindset of, let's just say, the stereotypical creative person. Whether or not somebody agrees about what a businessman or a creative type or a software engineer should be wearing of a watch is not the important thing. I had fun coming up with my ideas as to what stereotypically would be the correct Rolex watch for them. Having said that, the next question is, and to finish off, I'm going to do a rapid alternative from other brands because it doesn't have to be a Rolex. So, jumping quickly into it, I'm going to say the following. The businessman. If you're not going for the Rolex GMT, as I suggested, get the IWC Pilot Chrono. This is a businessman watch as well. It flies, it's the right size, it goes with a suit on the leather strap, it's cocktail sophisticated on a dark strap. Tell me a person that drinks a Negroni doesn't also want to wear an IWC Pilot's watch. It's an amazing watch. As a software engineer, I actually think the best option is the Speedmaster Moonwatch. No discussion, it's been on the moon. There's so much cachet there. If not, go for Casio. Just because it's an amazing, completely and ridiculously over-engineered quartz watch, and you're going to stand out from the crowd, depending on which one you select. And finally, the YouTuber. My personal favorite, the Cartier Santos, in medium. Don't go for the big one. Don't get the date. Nothing sends a signal of style and uniqueness like the Cartier. After all, it is a Cartier. Fashion brand, yes, but also a watch brand with so much cachet you've got no idea. Those were my choices. What do you think? What would you suggest? Put your comments below. Shout out to my 1 subscriber. A lot of people say thank you once they hit 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. I have 1. That is 1 more than I had 5 days ago, which is totally cool. Hope to see you all again. Check out my other videos. There are 2 now. I will be returning on a regular basis. Thanks for logging in.